Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for another flea market finds episode, and this is stuff that I actually picked from the estate sale that I went to, in which I actually purchased the JCB mini backhoe, for those of you who may have been following my series on that little machine. So the story is they were having a professional estate sale company that was going to be coming in and liquidating the estate, but because I was there picking up the backhoe, they let me take a look around, and down in the basement I ended up going through some drawers and boxes and stuff and putting together this pile, and I ended up spending, I think I ended up getting this for about 50 bucks. Unfortunately, it seemed like a lot of the more probably pristine tools that the gentleman had at some point were already gone. I don't know if maybe a member of the family had come in, or maybe he, near the end of his life, because I guess he was in his 90s, maybe he had started to sell off or give away some of his toys, so to speak. But let's see what we got. Did find this interesting old Baldwin gauge. Caught my eye. I don't think I've ever had one of these before. This may be one of those things that was very expensive when it was new, and now has very little utility to it. But this is called the Baldwin packing gauge, and it says the Baldwin GATF packing gauge has been fully tested at the factory, blah 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 blah, fully warranted. Okay, that's great, but it doesn't say what it's used for. And it's from the Baldwin Geigenheimer Corporation at 401 Chapin Avenue, Stamford, Connecticut. Alright, so what it looks like to me is it almost looks like a force gauge of some type. So it just says Baldwin packing gauge on it over here. And then, like I said, it's almost like a force gauge, because this seems like a precision machined, almost like a level, but then it's got this foot here, okay, and that is actuating a back plunge style federal indicator in the top here. So I don't know what the heck that is. Oh, wait a minute, got some paperwork in here, probably explains everything. Should have just looked at that first. All right, this is for some sort of special machinery, because it says holding the gauge in one hand, place it on the blanket or plate cylinder with the small circular, some blanket or plate cylinder, and there's a photograph of it being, put on this big cylinder. I'm wondering whether or not this isn't specific to like paper manufacturing or textile manufacturing, something like that. Yeah, I got a feeling there's not much value here, unfortunately. Would be nice if I'm wrong, but I doubt it. I'm not saying that to be cocky, I've just been down this road before. So, one of these, without the box, sold on eBay for, it was listed for like $59.99, and they took a best offer, whatever that was. And another one sold with the case, just like this, for $20. And here's another box. Let's see if this is another box of disappointment. I don't even remember what's in here now. Oh no, actually this was a little bit, well, so there's good and bad to this. The bad is that it's got this foam that just deteriorates into a powder, but then somehow manages to stick to items and hold enough moisture to cause but somehow still manages to stick to the item enough to hold moisture and cause spot corrosion. So this is just garbage. I'm going to go take this over to the trash can and get rid of as much of this as I can, so we can expose the treasure inside. So what was buried in all this disgusting foam is this very long dial bore gauge. So this is for small bores, but it's made to reach way far down inside. The indicator says that it's a Diatest made in Germany. That might just be the manufacturer of the indicator, but because it's not an indicator name I recognize, I have a feeling that this whole bore gauge may in fact be made by that company. It doesn't appear to be functioning right now, but that could be any number of things. Let's start by seeing if we can loosen this up. Get this, yeah, okay. So there you go. The indicator is very sticky, but not completely broken, which is a good sign. Might be able to clean this up and save it. So what's in here was the dial bore gauge. It has 1, 2, 3 attachments, so it does have a little bit of range to it. There's some really poor condition gauges, so these would be for calibrating it. And then this that doesn't belong in there was buried in the foam, and I didn't even realize that was in there. And this is just a nice little Ames pocket thickness gauge, and the irony is that of all the things in here, this is actually in the best shape. It's still functioning. Now that I'm looking at this stuff more closely, I'm beginning to wonder whether or not my memory is failing me. I'd be surprised if I spent 50 for this stuff. I probably ended up getting it for like 30. Well, let's see. Maybe there's some more decent stuff to come here. This was just stuck to the side of a toolbox or something. Pro level angle finder with a magnetic base. These are kind of handy if you're not looking for super accuracy on the angle you're measuring. You got a magnet so you can stick it to something. And it's got a big needle, and it actually still works perfectly fine. You just have to have it vertical this way. You know what I mean. Oh, here's one of these types of inside caliper, dial calipers. I've had a few of these in the past. I usually could sell these for around 25. They're almost always this brand too, these Japanese ones. This was kind of nice. Probably going to save this for myself. Might come in handy. This is an expandable mandrel set. So what this does is, if you have like a gear blank or something that you want to mount on a mandrel, so then you can like chuck this in your lathe, or in a collet in a mill, for instance, or on a fixture. You just adjust that screw in there, that cap screw in there, and this will expand. Very very import looking to me. And then there was this one big one, which is the C5 collet. This is a brazed carbide tool set, brand new old stock. I grabbed all the parallel clamps that I could find in there. These two are marked India. They're a pair. These interesting little extra parts, which I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. Here's a general hardware, and here's a nice big Starrett with the case hardening finish on it. It's not in the greatest of shape, but it's still a good usable Starrett caliper. And there was one can't twist clamp in the whole bunch, and it's not even a can't twist, it's actually a strong arm. But strong arm is another good name brand of this style clamp, so it's not the super cheapo ones that you see. So the original can't twist, spelled K-A-N-T, those are of course the originals, and then you see them knocked off all the time, and they'll be marked like Japan, not Japan, but China, or India. But this one is a strong arm, which I believe is a good name brand, if I'm not mistaken. And here's a Peacock dial indicator, and again, being that it's a Peacock, which is Japanese, this is a Peacock SPI. Oh, so this one's branded SPI also, which might save it, might make it a little bit more palatable to somebody. It works perfectly, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a pretty nice little indicator. I mean, pretty nice little dial caliper. It's just not going to really bring a lot of money. This was a nice find. Probably the best piece out of this bunch is this Starrett number 134 cross level. These have 3 vials in them. The last one of these that I had only had 1 or 2 of the vials intact. The third one was broken. This one's in much nicer shape. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to sell that one or keep that in my private collection. Here's a drill gauge, but it's an advertising piece also. It's by Amco, hammer forged polished flute drills and reamers. Nice little Weldon style countersink set. Weldon 82-degree countersink. And this was a nice find. There was no Fordham grinder there. So this would have been for the cable drive Fordham hanging grinders. The motors would hang, and then you'd have a flexible cable that went to a hand held part that you could then put different size collets in for different sized grinding and polishing attachments. So this is a nice find because I think I might have one of these grinders and don't have a collet set for it. This is beyond explanation. This is what started out life as a nice made in the USA 24-inch blade. For some reason it was hit with a grinder right here to completely obliterate the name, but it looks just like a Starrett, and it does say made in the USA hardened, so I think it might have been a Starrett. But in addition to having this damage here that obliterated who made it, somebody drilled a hole in the end of it here and put a screw and a nut so that this could be attached to it for some reason. I do not know why. But the 24-inch blades are harder to come by, so we'll take that little doohickey and screw off of there, and it'll still be something nice for somebody. And then we have this Peak brand magnifier, and this is one of those little magnifiers that typically would come with different lenses that you can install in here. This one has the 7-power loop on it, and it's just a straight 7-power loop, so there's no reticle lines or anything in this one. A lot of these would have, like Mitutoyo made a nice one, sold one of those a while back, had the little reticle lines, so you could actually use it to make measurements on items. But it's kind of neat, got the original little case, and it's got some age to it. Another thing I ended up getting in that sale of stuff from that basement was this box right here. It was up on the shelf and it caught my eye. It was on the shelf just like this, and the guy had labeled each one of these boxes with the size that's in there. And what these are like Deming drills, high-speed steel, silver and Deming drills, 1/2-inch diameter shanks, and they appear to be new old stock. So I have no idea how many of these he may have taken out of the box at any given time and used, but some of these, like that one there, clearly looks like it was never unwrapped. And sure, these are Chinesium, pretty sure. Yeah, clearly say made in China right there. But I mean, heck, I got these so cheap, it's worth it to me. Even at $1 a piece, there's 32 of them here. Alright guys, and that's the end of the box. That's everything that I got out of that estate. And like I said, I paid somewhere probably between $30 and $50 for the whole lot. I'm satisfied that number 134 level, I mean, this is really what saved the day. If I didn't find this there, then this would have been not really that great. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing, and please consider sharing the video. Take care.